They say winning ain't everything. Well, we don't have them type conversations over here, man. Had that conversation with the losers. We trying to win at everything we do. Even in the loss, we don't see defeat. We see a lesson learned. Straight up. Look, I came into this world in 1978. The doc looked me in my face and knew I was something great. 45, 42 Prescott, that's where I'm from. Grew up in the slums around dope dealers and bums. As humble as I was, I adapted to my habitat. In my own lane though, far from where they crashing at. Dumb bar graduate, the game I'd have mastered it. Served in the Navy, look, y'all don't know the half of it. Pops passed in 01, moms passed last year. I know they up in heaven smiling down, crying mad tears, cause they son making it. No telling where I'm taking it. My city been cursed, but I feel that I'm breaking it. Coached at Wayne High in 15 in one state. Seen the fork in the road and went straight. I know what I'm worth, I'm OG King Curt. Brooklyn Nets gaming crew legend, let's work.
Hey, this is OG King Curt, your host of the OG 2 Cents podcast. Thanks to who all tune in each and every Sunday. I appreciate it very much. Also, I want to give a shout out to my team, Dave at the 2K Zone, Strider Visuals, and Bauer DZN. They share in my vision with the OG 2 Cents podcast, and I appreciate everything that they have to offer. Also, during this time, I just want to share some information on preventing the coronavirus. It's due to 5 that help stop coronavirus. Hands, wash them often. Elbows, cough into them. Face, don't touch it. Feet, stay more than 3 to 6 feet apart. If you're feeling sick, stay at home. Just some few tips to, minimize the transfer of the virus that's affecting the world and so many people around us right now. Like I said before, be sensitive with your thoughts and opinions because people are really being affected right now. So just keep that in mind. Also, this episode, number 7, Fear, Face Everything and Rise. I'll be talking about different experiences throughout my life that I've overcame and helped me get to, where I'm at today and even still with so much more to do. So just stay tuned in, and we'll be back.
They say winning ain't everything. Well, we don't have them type conversations over here, man. Had that conversation with the losers. We trying to win at everything we do. Even in the loss, we don't see defeat. We see a lesson learned.
And we are back. I want to take this time right now to give a special intro to Max Meyer, aka Bauer DZN. He's a graphic designer focused on sports graphics. He's been designing for 3 years and loves sports. His goal is to design for a 2K League team because of his love for sports and love for video games. He's definitely talented. Has a bright future in front of him, and I'm definitely grateful to have him a part of the OG 2 Cents podcast team. Now, just jumping into the episode, Fear, Face Everything and Rise. It's basically looking at the goal you have in mind and overlooking the obstacles that stand in front of it. Basically, when I started this podcast, just for an example, I was terrified. Like, I didn't know how people would take it. I didn't know if I had the ability in everything that goes along in doing a podcast. I had listened to a few here and there, gained some inspiration through that. A couple in particular, the Grassroots podcast with Aaron Ashley Simon. She's somebody I met through the 2K League, and we've been in touch ever since. And someone who I really consider a true friend in the business, inside and out. But she definitely helps me in a lot of different areas where I may lack knowledge or experience. So I'm definitely grateful for our paths crossing. Listening and watching the content. And, I know right now I'm just, doing the pre-records and different things of that nature. And it'll be some growth in the near future of it being more of a full production and everything like that. But it's just being inspired by people that are doing things at a maybe a larger scale than you are at the moment. But the key was just to start. And I've explained before of the whole origin of the OG 2 cents and how I took it from being motivational and inspirational tweets and catchy hashtag, and how I thought that, man, this might make a good show. In doing that, it was just like overcoming the fear of rejection or people not taking to it. But like I said before, it's like you have to have confidence in what you're doing, and that will carry you more than the negativity or the opinions of others. Me, myself, personally, I take criticism as I use it all as constructive criticism, no matter what it is, because it's always some good out of something that you can take from each and every negative comment that may exist. I don't only look at it from my point of view, but I look at it from other people's point of view as well. It's like, although I can be confident in myself and believe in what I'm doing, I still have to listen to the audience. Sometimes it's one of those things where you can't always listen to the cheers. Sometimes you have to respect the boos too, to keep things in perspective. I was thinking back in January, one night I was trying to figure out how I was going to start the show, what I was going to do with it. I tried to do the video recording myself, and then I had recorded a whole episode and realized that half my head was chopped off. So I definitely couldn't use that. But it was just like not being afraid, just to take a chance in doing that. That's something that you have to have. It's like just getting over that initial fear of everything, of how what you're doing is, how you're gonna look while you're doing it, or how you're gonna sound while you're doing it, or how is people gonna take you serious, are people gonna laugh at you, or all different types of things. So for me, it was like, just do it. Like I always tell people, like I'm always telling people, like, don't ask, just do it. And then, you put it out into the universe, and pretty much you'll get your direction from that point. And I think for me, it was just like, once I took that first step into it, I knocked the nerves off and everything like that. I know personally, it's a different feeling when you're recording by yourself, as like having a guest or doing an interview or different things like that. So it's like you get into after a while you get into a comfort zone where it's no longer about fear. It's just about taking it, facing it head on with it, and strategizing and everything like that, to be able to accomplish that. In doing that, as you keep going about it, it's just like keeping faith in yourself and what you're doing. Always you have to be open-minded. Take feedback well, because a lot of times people are not really people ask for honesty, but then when they get it, they don't always know how to be receptive to it. Some of the things you need to hear, you may not always want to hear. but it's definitely necessary. And I think that's important with growth. It's definitely been important with my growth and everything that I've tried to overcome. Now, this was just my example with the podcast. I started out on Podbean because I knew someone who was already doing a podcast on that app. And I figured if I had any issues or any problems, I could go to them and they could help me. And that's something that's important when you're trying to do something, is that you need to have people around you that's knowledgeable in areas that you may not be. For me, that's been important. That also allowed me to help build a team to help me achieve the goal of having my own podcast and being able to do different things with it. You know, getting past that initial fear, keeping the faith in yourself, but then also knowing how to deal with doubters and naysayers is definitely important. Just a simple like fear. I'm constantly re-educating myself, even on simple words and different things like that. But like the definition of fear, it's an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. In certain cases, that can be extreme, but it's always a minimum and maximum to everything. And I think like a lot of people have fear of speaking or different things like that. I remember in high school, it was like one of my favorite things. We actually had a speech class, and we would have, I think, like almost every end of the quarter, we'd have like a big public speaking engagement that you had to do. And for me, it came natural. I think once I just start speaking, the nerves eventually they just walk away. But like that's a fear for a lot of people. And I think even as I watch, like in our young league, players they come in, they just want to play the game. But like a lot of the content side of it and being able to carry a brand and to be a face of an organization, it sounds good and looks good. But then at the end of the day, you have to be, stronger and more confident than you've ever been, because obviously you're going to be asked to do things that may be out of your comfort zone. And that's another point in time where, fear kicks in. And at some point, like with the aspect of the face everything and rise, it's like you have an obligation when you're representing something or someone. And it's going to come points in time where you have to step up and be somebody that you haven't been before. It's like I used to reference, I used to think about when I was a kid and I would hear noises in the house. And my dad, like, he always would pop up and go check out whatever it was. And I used to be scared to death. Sometimes me and my twin brother. And we would lay in the bed probably under the covers or whatever, and then my dad would get up and go check the noise. And he'd be like, "Oh, son, it wasn't nothing," or whatever, y'all can go back to bed. But I used to think like, man, when I become a father, will I be like that? Like, would I be the same? How would I take on taking that role of having to be the one to get up and check no matter what to defend, my family? And obviously, through having that type of role model and figure in my life consistently, like it was a no-brainer that it's just second nature that you do, what you have to do. When you're a parent, guardian, and you have people looking up to you, or you have people to protect, or things like that. I was grateful for that. So it's like the same thing, like overcoming those fears by just standing up to it and dealing with it. God rest his soul. James Bradford, was my dad, and he was a strong figure, and he helped me overcome a lot of fears just by me watching him. It wasn't always about what he said, but it was more about what he did. We have to be those type of staples for people. When you're on the verge of trying to accomplish a goal or something that you want to do, it's people watching how you react to the obstacles or the trials and tribulations that may come your way. You're not only battling them for yourself, you're also helping people along the way, because whether they're watching you or listening to your testimonies or different things like that, you're helping them as much as you're helping yourself. And that's why, like, most of the time, I think if you find yourself on the verge of being scared to accomplish something or do something, it's just basically getting you out of your comfort zone to be able to move on to something bigger and greater. That kind of leads me into, going from running the MPBA into actually getting involved with the NBA and working for an NBA organization and an affiliate team of the NBA 2K League. It was like, it was something that I wanted to do, and I looked at it as an honor. But at the same time, I was terrified because I don't know, like with some people, but with myself, it's like I have a fear. I used to, I don't want to say used to, but it was something that happened to me recently where I kind of changed my mind. But I've had in the past a fear of failing or failure. It wasn't until like I had recently read the quote where basically, if you think you're going to fail, then you're probably going to fail. And it's just, trying to alleviate the thought of having a fear of failure. I think that was important for me to constantly keep reading the information like that and seeing things like that. And it was a quote that Kobe had used, numerous times. And I think in like reading that, it was like it kind of helped soothe my conscience about failing. Now, also, I've had numerous talks with, my superior at the organization, and, he said, Curtis, it's not a bad thing to have those type feelings, because it's kind of what just drives you to be greater than what you are. And having that fear of failure, it basically allows you to do everything in your might and in your will so that you don't fail. I needed to hear that. I'm all about words of affirmation. That's big with me. It's definitely helped me along the way. Fear is something that, like I said, it's going to exist. It's just all in how you handle it and how you deal with it. I think, like, even when I think about the podcast or I think about different things that I do, the more times you do it, the more comfortable you become, and the more confident that you become, and you get better and better at it. And even with saying that is that, still stay open to feedback and criticism and all of those things that can help, help you be better. I mean, because a lot of times people, I always say I don't like being around people who think the same way I do. Like I like to be around people who have a lot of different input, and it allows me to be more open-minded and see things in a different light. And I think, that's important. Like with growth, I've said that numerous times, but I think, you don't grow without it. I mean, as long as you stay stuck in your own thoughts and in your own head, that's the only place you'll be. It takes the thoughts and the voices of other people to put you in different spaces. It's what's necessary. Oddly enough, we're talking about fear and with everything that's going on right now. I think it's important to have the mentality of, facing everything and rising. Is that, like in the old sayings, tough times don't last, but tough people do. And until everything returns back to some normalcy, I mean, I'm very cautious when I speak on, about normal, because some people's normal, is not the best thing, for everybody. And I try to be conscious in speaking for a lot of different people other than just myself, because I know what works for one person may not work for another. If you catch my drift. At this point of the show, I kind of want to direct it where I basically select the OG 2 cents from the past and just speak on it. And this particular one is, no one does anything by themselves. It's just a matter if they want to give credit or not. I came up with this from Toxic, who's a well-known figure in the NBA 2K community. A great young man, runs the Eyeball Empire, and he puts on a lot of great events. But not only that, he's a professional 2K League player for Magic Gaming. And we were talking at a league event, and basically, where a lot of people, whether in the streaming world or anything like that, when they get to a certain point in their career, it's like, I'm self-made. I did it by myself, and I don't need no help or this and that or whatever. Which is, I mean, all that sounds good, but you don't do anything by yourself. I don't care if it's one person or all the way to 50. Like, we all receive help, whether it's monetary, whether it's inspiration, or however you want to look at it. Help is the reason why we conquer a lot of different things. It just inspired me with that OG 2 cents, is that you don't do anything by yourself. And it's okay to give credit to where credit is due. I have a good amount of people surrounding me who definitely encourage and build me up and knock me down when necessary. But without them, I wouldn't have been a better Ivan Curtis, and definitely probably wouldn't be OG King Curt, or even close to who I am today. So with that being said, it's basically the closure to this episode. We'll be back to give shout outs to the necessary.
They say winning ain't everything. Well, we don't have them type conversations over here, man. Had that conversation with the losers. We trying to win at everything we do. Even in the loss, we don't see defeat. We see a lesson learned.
And we are back. I just want to thank everybody once again for tuning in. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at OG King Curt. That is Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Also, the OG 2 Cents podcast is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Want to say again, thanks from my team, Dave at the 2K Zone, Strider Visuals, and Bauer DZN. Follow them on Twitter as well. Dave is at Dave_2K Zone. Strider Visuals is at Strider Visuals, STRDERVISUALS. And Bauer DZN at BAUERDZN. Next week's episode is number 8. Is Who Are You? And basically we'll be getting more in depth with who OG King Curt is and where he came from. And then just remember, if it makes sense, it's an OG 2 cents.
Doc looked me in my face and knew I was something great. 45, 42 Prescott, that's where I'm from. Grew up in the slums around dope dealers and bums. As humble as I was, I adapted to my habitat. In my own lane, no. Far from where they crashing at. Dumb bar graduate, the game I'd have mastered it. Served in the Navy, look, y'all don't know the half of it. Pops passed in 01, moms passed last year. I know they up in heaven smiling down, crying mad tears, cause they son making it. No telling where I'm taking it. My city been cursed, but I feel that I'm breaking it. Coached at Wayne High in 15 in one state. Seen the fork in the road and went straight. I know what I'm worth, I'm OG King Curt. Brooklyn Nets gaming crew legend, let's work. Yeah. Hey, much love to the whole MPBA league. Special shout out to the Brooklyn Nets gaming crew, we on our way, baby. What's up, JP? LT, Big West, famous enough, 2K comp games, Black Frank White, Brooklyn Nick, Rico. Let's put this work in, fellas. And much, much, much love to the entire 2K community for always showing me love. Without y'all, we wouldn't be here. Yeah.